about maximum likelihood estimation. It is really one of the very famous utilized estimation technique. And simply, if I'm talking about technique, it is very much systematic. So we'll see that systematic approach of performing maximum likelihood estimation. So coming to outline of my today's lecture, first I would like to discuss about two things. One is likelihood, another one is probability. So how these two are different. It looks very much similar, but how these two are different, so those things we will see from the various example and various scenario. What is the difference between probability and likelihood? This one is very uh, uh, genuine question. Generally, if you appear for any kind of interview after your degree, definitely this kind of question come that will come to you directly. So you have to answer such kind of question, that what is the difference between probability and likelihood. Afterward, I will talk about maximum likelihood estimation process, and if time permit, then I will go to talk about efficiency and consistency of the estimator what we got through maximum likelihood approach. So that's way always I told that whenever you perform estimation, you need to talk about efficiency, consistency, unbiasedness, sufficiency, everything, all those related major kind of things. So quality, that means you have to check the quality of those estimators. So those things you have to check all these. All these are the measure of those things. So better whether your estimator is a good or bad, that thing you have to decide it by uh, defining efficiency, consistency, and other kind of things. Okay. So coming to probability and likelihood, first I would like to take few example. Afterward, I will generalize it to for any kind of model or statistical model. Okay, from inference point of view. So what is exactly likelihood versus probability? So I will try to differentiate these two terms with an example that will come from coin tossing. So consider a coin toss. If you know the coin is fair, what does it mean? Simply you say that probability of getting head and probability of getting tail both are equal to zero 0.5. So that is meaning of being a fair coin. Okay, so that means no unbiased coin. Simply we say that. Then if we know that coin is fair, then we have given a task to find what is the probability that getting two head in a row. That means one head in the first toss and second head in the second toss. Okay, so that what is the that means observation is what observation, or we can simply say that what is the event or observation, both happens to be same. So what is the probability of getting two head in this toss in when you perform a coin tossing twice. Okay, so probability, simply we can easily calculate that that we are willing to calculate probability of head. So probability of head, that this head is coming from first toss and this head is coming from second toss, and we know that this head and this head both are mutually exclusive to each other, and hence we can also independent to each other. So easily we can calculate this joint probability as a product of this probability and this probability, and we know that coin happens to be fair. So easily we can calculate probability of this observation is 0.5 into 0.5, that means 0.25. It is simply a direct approach, a direct computation approach. What that means, we are having a distribution. Simply I would like to say that here we are having a distribution. From that distribution, easily we are able to calculate probability and observation, or probability of any observation, if you know the distribution. That approach we are calling it direct problem or direct computation. Okay, so here directly it is dealing with probability all about. Now I am going to talk about another scenario. So next question will, someone will say that definitely, that simply you say that never believe whatever coming to you. So always raise a doubt. So what doubt is coming here? Simply, is that coin is fair? Someone is saying that coin is fair, but you have to come up with the doubt. Like you are, if you suppose you are participating in some gambling or some kind of that some kind of game related with these kind of things, coin tossing or something like that. So definitely the person who is organizing that game, that person will try to take much profit. So in order to get much profit, he won't be biased, unbiased. Definitely biasness will come. So that's why this question is very much genuine. Is the coin fair? To answer this, what we need to ask, to what extent does our sample support our hypothesis? What is the hypothesis? Here hypothesis is equally likely situation. That means probability of getting head and probability of getting tail both are equally likely in in the case of performing a toss. Okay, single coin toss. So that is the hypothesis. So does that if you, so we have to verify this is the hypothesis. We have to verify by collecting various toss, by performing various toss of the same coin. So whether it support hypothesis always or not, so that you have to verify. So the how you do that verification of hypothesis, you do through sampling. That means you are performing various toss, so that you perform through some sample. Okay, so suppose if you perform just two toss, okay, and the maximum likelihood estimate of head after two, if you try to estimate this probability of getting head, that you can denote it by probability of success, P, probability of success. So suppose after two you perform two toss and you got two head. So in that case, what would be the maximum likelihood estimation of the this probability of success P? It would be definitely equal to 1. That means into two toss we are getting two head simply. Okay, so probability would be 1. So that means someone will say that when a person performed two tosses of a coin and got two head, then legitimate answer will come that what is the probability of getting head after seeing both time two toss two head. Then that person will say that, oh, probability it is certain that always we will get head. We are getting head. What does it mean? Probability of getting head is 1. So that it says in two toss. Okay, so that one is just coming from two toss just. Okay, what will happen further? We will perform third toss, okay, in a row. Third toss we perform, or suppose in third toss we are getting tail. So what will happen? So definitely the probability of getting head, that initially it was in this case, it was in this sample it was 1. Now here once we get probability tail in third toss, then definitely probability of getting head will uh, diminish. It will diminish. And why? Because third here there is also involvement of third. So that's way the toss what we are performing, with which we coin we are performing, definitely it is sure we can say that it is not a two-headed coin. That means both side is not head. One side there is a tail, another side there is a head. So that situation is why, because we in third toss we got tail. So that's way. So you can see that here the probability, that estimated probability, it is decreasing here, or parameter what we call it. Further what we do, but most value in between can be so supported by the data. So keep on performing like you perform 10 toss. So 10 toss I will represent 1 for head and 0 for tail. So we are getting this kind of situation. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, tell me what is the estimated value of probability of success? What is the estimated value? Anyone would like to answer? What is the estimated value? No answer. It is just we observe how many heads? 5 head. 1 2 3 4 5. Out of how many trials? 10 trials. So here estimated value of probability is 0.5. Definitely it is very near to the what fair one. Okay, but situation may come also like this way. 1 head 0 1 0 1, like this situation. In that case, definitely here the estimated probability is less than 0.5. It is here it is less than 0.5. So from here just with these number of trial we can't conclude that the coin is unfair or unbiased. Simply we have to go to perform what there would be one threshold number of trials, so that afterward we can comment over that trial is a fair trial or not. So that we can define it through some kind of estimation, that it says that here just it is counting number of success, number of hits. So definitely it will come in the category of binomial distribution. So suppose you are trying to find a 95% confidence interval for probability of success that would fall between 0.094 to 0.99. That means you are taking a very big interval. So definitely the exact value, that probability of getting hit in a toss, in a single coin toss, that one is, in case of fair it would be 0.5. But if you are talking about 95% interval, then 95% interval would be, it would, that means there is a chance that that if you keep on performing number of tosses, then probability of success, that p, estimated value of p, that means how you are just getting this value, estimated value by empirical formula that summing all the success, that means number of hits, after that dividing by total trial, how many attempts you are performing. So in that case, if you're summing, someone is saying that just find a 95% confidence interval for probability of success, the estimated value of probability of success, that what would be that? That means it would be that probability of success would fall between 0.094 to 0.992. In this interval, this estimated value of p will fall, that we are getting through empirically. Okay, suppose someone is performing 100 coin tosses. Among the 100 coin tosses, 70 happens to be head. So we can say that coin is not fair. So here 100 is a sufficient number. It is sufficient number. Like one person is playing cricket, he is a captain, he is always participating in coin tossing, always getting head. What does it say? That that definitely coin is bias. That means out of 100, 70 times head is coming. What does it mean? Simply we can say that coin is not a unbiased coin or fair coin, it is a biased coin. So why we are saying that? We can see that an exact 95% confidence interval for probability that would fall between, in these interval, between 0.6 to 0.787. So what is the so in this case, what is the probability that x is that number of head would be greater than 70 given 100 trial, and probability of success 0.5? Easily if you calculate, this probability is very less, very less. This one is what you can say that it is right tail probability, that if you try to see from the Gaussian perspective, it is right tail probability. Or even for any distribution, if you talk about, it is right tail probability. This right tail probability that it falls in non selection region or rejection region, that probability is very less. So that's why we are saying that if coming 70 head out of 100 tosses, definitely it is a very rare kind of event. Or if it is coming, such situation is coming, then simply we can say that coin happens to be biased or unfair coin. So why that being biased or unfair, that happens to be very rare. Okay, so simply in probability we start so what were, so it is coming, this is second approach, it is coming through likelihood approach. What is the likelihood? So here we likelihood, that means we have to see the genuineness of the coin, whether it is fair or unfair. That genuineness we what is the likelihood of coin, whether it is a fair or not, that one is coming in the category of likelihood. Okay, so simply if you try to conclude from this example, you can say that in probability we start with assume parameter that probability of success, it definitely it would be given to you. That means simply you can say that at hand you are having distribution, and from there you try to estimate the probability of a given observation or sample. Given observation, like in the last case, two heads in a row. Okay, it is here we are talking about probability. Then what is likelihood? The likelihood is coming, it is actually inverse kind of things, inverse of the probability. What does it say? That it is coming in statistics. That's why someone is saying that what is the relation between probability and statistics? You can say that statistics is just inverse process of probability. So in statistics we start with observation. That means we are observing few things. We observe, we got two head in a row, but we don't know about the fairness of the coin. We don't know about the fairness of the coin. We have to infer about whether that coin is fair or unfair. We have to infer about. That means we have to estimate the parameter. of the distribution. We have to estimate the parameter of this. If this estimated value of p, it would be from this single observation or few observation, we try to estimate value of p. So like we here, so these are the observation. From here we try to estimate value of p. So from the estimated value of p, if we come to know that estimated value is 0.5, then we can claim that the coin might be fair. If it is not 0.5, then we will say that coin is unfair, might be unfair. So that situation. So likelihood is it is all about dealing with uh, one hypothesis through which we try to estimate the parameter. So I will take again this probability versus likelihood from statistical model perspective. So suppose if you take a statistical model perspective, then what it do? It actually connect two kind of things, two important kind of things, whether you are from control theory or machine learning or whatever is, two kind of things. Wherever you will go, same thing you will get. So generally if you take any uh, statistical model, even neural network is a statistical model. So if you take any model, so it connect two things. One thing, data at hand. Another, from which distribution the data might be generated. Or if you talk about distribution, then a distribution is always which distribution or which model data might have been generated. So that model or distribution might be there are two approaches. Simplest approach, that we can take a model in parametric way, like Gaussian distribution we are defining with respect to mean and variance. Mean and variance explicitly coming in there in the definition of the probability density of Gaussian. So that's way we can easily say that any two Gaussian can be distinct from each other with respect to their mean and variance. So that's way. So every that model distribution, it is characterized by some kind of parameter. So that's way. So a model, it always connect data and the model, or parameter of the model, simply we can say. So data is connected to a, simply we can, data x is connected to a possible model by means of some function which happens to be, it is a joint function of x and that parameter of theta. It is a joint function of, okay. If someone is someone has given value of theta, like in last case that probability of success was 0.5, that what was theta, that so someone has given value of theta, that means you know the value of theta, then simply this quantity, joint quantity, joint quantity lambda x of theta, we will call it, it is talking about probability of x, the observation x. It is simply a probability of observation x. Okay, this one is a direct approach. Again, I would like to say that that means you know the value of theta, and from this known value of theta you try to calculate this quantity, and that quantity is actually what, it is the probability of x, that data, observation or data. Okay, another scenario, for a given x, suppose we don't know theta, we have given this x data, this observation we know. So we can view in that case this joint function as a nice function of theta. Here x is given, so it would be just function of theta. X is fixed here. Once x is given, it is fixed. So this lambda of theta, x comma theta, it would be just function of theta, and we can call this one is likelihood of the data. It is likelihood, and parameter don't vary simultaneously. So what will happens here, simply what we observe in this scenario, if you try to see x here, variable theta is given to you, that means theta is fixed, so x is variable. Here in this scenario, in second scenario, x is given, x is fixed, theta is variable. So here in this course, you will see, in this model you will see x and theta both are not varying together. Okay, so both are not varying together. That's why there is a clear dichotomy. What is dichotomy? That means this x is theta is given, and just if you talk about variation of x, that one is dealing with probability. If x is given at you talk about variation of theta, that means you have to estimate the value of theta, then it will come the likelihood. That means likelihood means again it is tending towards probability, but which is the best likelihood, that which is the maximum likelihood, that we will try to find it, and hence it becomes a probability. So that we have to see that what is the likelihood that data, if someone has already observed that. So what simple question will come, that what is the likelihood that data has been originated from Gaussian or binomial or from exponential, whatever is that likelihood, you have to define it later. If you able to estimate the value of theta, and that then you can say that that one is coming from that distribution. So that is the perspective. Simply you can say that likelihood, it is a measure of the extent to which a sample provides support for particular value of a parameter in a parametric model. So it just provide a support. So and that means likelihood is measure the extent to which a sample provide a support for the particular theta. Okay. Further, if you talk about, I'm taking another example from gambling perspective. What is this? This one is saying that suppose there is a profitable gambling, okay, and probabilities will serve us to compute things like, if you that means distribution is given to us, it will serve things like expected profile of your gains and your loss, like mean, median, mode, variance, gambling ruin, and many quantity would be associated with, and some many central quantity in. So this one is related with, in the gambling game, this one is related with probability phenomena. Now if you come to second case, in contrast, so what likelihood, it will serve us to quantify whether we trust those probability which are given to us. That means someone is saying that there is a dice, and the probability of getting one face, that face 1 is 1 by 6, or probability of getting face 2 is 1 by 6, like that scenario, equivalent situation is there. So next question, if you raise a doubt, that one is coming in the category of likelihood. So the likelihood will serve us to quantify whether we trust those probability in the first place, or is there any some kind of fishy thing, some kind of manipulation is there. So that you have to raise it in likelihood, and if you are raising that, you have to estimate the likelihood theta by maximizing the likelihood. You have to estimate the theta by, you have to estimate those parameters by maximizing the likelihood. Okay. So suppose again I am taking a random variable x arising from a parameterized distribution, and this one is the distribution function, cumulative distribution function, and theta is the parameter, where theta is what parameter characterizing the distribution. Then here theta is known to us. So what we, the probability of x, if you try to calculate probability of one particular value of x, how we can calculate, just substituting value of theta, theta is known to us, substituting value of x, and we will get probability of that particular x. So this one is a direct approach. Now suppose just we are having data x, but we don't know theta. Theta is unknown to. So given the assumed, so we have to come up with some hypothesis function for this distribution function, or we have to develop some kind of hypothesis, and the likelihood is defined as the probability of observed data as a function of theta. So that's why we are taking notation L. So the probability of observed data as a function of theta, but remember that this one is not a probability. We have to estimate theta, then we will say that it becomes a probability. So what is the likelihood? What is the likelihood of seeing that data that coming from some kind of distribution or some kind of model? So that we have to do. So further, if you talk about probability and likelihood, we can talk also from the perspective of probability and statistics, what I had already discussed. So key observation we observe here like this way: likelihood function doesn't obey the law of probability. If you try to see and if you simply say that likelihood function, if the data is continuous in nature, then it doesn't satisfy the density property, probability density property of probability density function. If data happens to be discrete, then it doesn't satisfy probability of probability mass function, or properties of probability mass function. However, we can say that one more thing: the likelihood function, it is proportional to the probability of the observed data. So there is very a strong or interesting relation is that likelihood function may or may not satisfy the law of probability, but it is proportional to probability of the observed data. So with a given distribution, so again I am just talking about this one is first in probability. With a given distribution, probability quantifies anticipation of outcome. What does it mean? Mean that it is computing the probability of the observation. Okay, now this one is probability. Then what is likelihood? Likelihood is an inverse process of probability. That means we know about the value of data or observation from which we try to estimate the probability. So what in detail, if you try to see that if it is an inverse process of probability, then it says that with an observed data having with us, okay, likelihood is the probability of the observed data as a function of theta, where theta happens to be unknown to us. So what we do, we infer about the distribution by estimating the theta. So once we come with one estimated value of theta, then we say that probably the data might have generated from that distribution. Okay, so in probability with a distribution, we compute probability of a given observation, and what we do in statistics, with an observation, we try to infer out that it might have generated from some distribution that we are going to estimate. Okay, now that one was the story regarding probability versus likelihood. If anyone is having any question, you can raise. Otherwise, I am going forward to discuss about maximum likelihood estimation. So what is maximum likelihood estimation? In last class, I had already defined likelihood function. So likelihood function for also for discrete case and continuous case both. So here, what is when we are defining likelihood function, when we are having sample, we don't know the distribution from which that sample has been originated. Just we say that we know the we are having sample, from there we try to estimate our what we call it distribution. So situation is coming like this way. Consider a sample of size n as a random sample, okay, and where we are putting a condition that each member of the sample happens to be IID and identically distributed. That means coming from the same source. So each copies of X coming from the same source xi, okay, and what does it mean if it is coming from this sample is coming, so each member of this sample is coming from the same source. What does it mean? It means that mean of each xi, it would be the same mu, and variance of each xi would be the same, okay, but we don't know the mean and variance, both are unknown to us. So what is that? In order to estimate the distribution, we have to estimate the mean and variance. So there are two scenarios. Suppose this xi member of sample happens to be discrete. That means with a given observation, so this observation given a single observation, we can first define likelihood function. So likelihood function, it looks like joint density of this sample of size n, joint density of x1 x2 up to xn with unknown parameter theta. So this is it is defined by joint density. We know that here in case of discrete random variable, we just define discrete probability mass function. This is discrete probability mass function. Now what condition we have taken here over this sample? We have taken IID condition. So that's way here this joint density can be written as a product of individual density of xi in individual. So it is written as individual density of xi. So this joint density has been defined by this way. Why? Because of this IID situation, independent situation, okay. Now afterward, so it is definitely, you can observe that here xi is given to you, so it would be a fixed quantity, you can't vary it, okay. So what is unknown thing here? Theta. So theta you can vary. So this likelihood function, it becomes function of theta. So what you do, it is a very nice and a smooth function with respect to theta. So you can maximize this function with respect to theta. After maximizing the argument through for which this likelihood function is having the maximum value, we are denoting it by theta cap. So this theta cap ml, we are calling it, it is a maximum likelihood estimate of the this mu, maximum likelihood estimate of mu. Likewise, suppose xi, that sample happens to be discrete, each member of sample happens to be continuous. If there is a continuous case, what is the scenario? So in that case, how we can define likelihood function. So we can define likelihood function with the help of joint density of xi. We are defining it through joint density of xi. This is again we have taken assumption that IID situation is there. So that's why this joint density is actually product of individual density, just product of individual density. And again, if you see xi, this small xi. It is given to us. So what we do, we have to just maximize this function with respect to theta. After maximizing, we are getting an estimated value of theta that we are calling it theta cap ml as an argument for maximum value of theta, and that happens to be one estimate of this mu in case of continuous. This is the situation for continuous. We define it through density function. So this one is overall definition of maximum likelihood estimator. So you can keep on changing the sample. So if you keep on changing the sample like this way, so it is one estimate. So likewise you will get a estimator of theta. So that we will denote it by capital theta hat. This would be estimator of theta. This or estimator of mu. Mu or theta, both notation you can take for parameter. Theta is general notation. Mu for especially meant for mean. So if you try to see the plot of likelihood function for discrete sample, you can see that this kind of plot you are getting, like the plot of likelihood function, and this is the value for which the likelihood function having the maximum value. So this is the argument. Okay, this is the maximum likelihood estimation. If your data happens to be continuous in nature, then in that case the likelihood function, it would be continuous function of theta, and hence here we can observe that this is the value for which this likelihood function is having maximum value. Okay, this is the argument. Okay, so this is the maximum likelihood estimate. Now I will talk about one example from that will come from Gaussian distribution. So it is example is coming like this way. Suppose we are having a single sample or one observation of a sample of size 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, there is a sample of size 6 and we are having only one observation. This is only one observation, and suppose it has been drawn from a normal distribution with unknown mean mu and non-variance 1. We don't know mean here, so we have to estimate this one. So this one is a parameter. Simply we will call it, this is our parameter, that true value, and that we are willing to estimate it. Okay, so the probability of each of these point based on unknown mean, it would be what? Probability that it would be each point. What is the probability of observing 5? It would be given by this distribution function, but remember that here mu is unknown to us. We don't know mean. Likewise, what is the probability of observing 10 with this unknown mu? It would be given by this. Okay, this normal distribution or normal density, and but here we are willing to estimate mu. So assume that this sample is independent. So each copy, 5 is independent of 6, 6 is independent of 7, like so. There is a independency situation, and IID, or that means simply I am putting it IID situation here. So in that, if it is a IID, then easily we can define likelihood function as a joint function of these values, and the joint function easily we can calculate it through product of individual probabilities. Individual probability, this probability product of with unknown mean, individual probability with unknown mean. Okay, and after doing that we are getting this situation. This is the likelihood function for this sample. This is the likelihood function. What is the, so simply question will come that what is the most likelihood value of theta? That means what is the most likelihood probability? That means what is the most likelihood value of theta? So what is meaning of in optimization? Simply we see that we try to maximize the value of this likelihood function with respect to theta. So how we can maximize? You need to differentiate this with respect to theta and equate to 0, and from there you will get critical value and try to see the sign of Hessian. If Hessian is positive, negative semi-definite, then you will talk about what maximum value. If the Hessian is positive semi-definite, it would be minimum value. That's in a, so you have to see the Hessian of this likelihood function as well in order to talk about Hessian means second derivative. Here it is function of one variable, so second derivative. So you have to see second derivative, sign of second derivative. So first criteria, we just in order to calculate the maximum value of this likelihood function, we have to differentiate it with respect to theta. So differentiation is very easy. After differentiation, what we are getting, value of the estimated value of theta as an average of this number. That means sample mean. It is a sample and we are getting a sample mean. This is the sample mean. So one estimate of mu is sample mean. That one is coming from likelihood estimation, maximum likelihood estimation. So when we can say that here maximum likelihood is estimation is providing one estimator for mu as a sample mean. This is the sample. Now we will go to talk about further, and in order to discuss further, we have to generalize the previous result. So how we can generalize? So we are taking any observation of the sample. This is any observation of the sample. So from the generalized perspective, so it happens to be a random variable, joint random variable, n number of, there are n number of members. So suppose here each copies has been generalized from each exercise has been each exercise has been coming originated from normal distribution with unknown mean. So here theta is unknown, this variance is also unknown. So what we have to do, we have to estimate these things. So in order to estimate, first we need to define likelihood function as a joint density function with unknown theta. I am giving emphasis here, unknown theta. Theta is unknown to us. Okay, so and also s is unknown to both theta and s, both are unknown to us. So you can put it here, s and theta, s will come unknown to us. So just apply, just one thing is that the structure of the distribution known to us. A structure is what? It is coming from some normal distribution. That is, the structure is provided by, model structure is provided by normal distribution. That's why we are able to define likelihood function from the normal distribution perspective with unknown theta and unknown s. So that is the situation. We have to maximize, we have to uh, find theta, we have to estimate theta by maximizing the likelihood function. Likewise also we have to estimate this likelihood function in order to estimate s square by maximizing this likelihood function. So if you try to go and directly maximize, then it involves product. So if you talk about maximization of a function, optimization of a function which is in product form, then definitely you will face little bit what a computational issue. So what is the scenario? That easily you can observe that this likelihood function involves exponential terms and product terms. So what you do, take logarithm. So logarithmic will convert that product term into summation if you take logarithm. So logarithmic, so taking log both sides, so through this we observe that ln of this likelihood function, it is what? It is taking very simple kind of approach that happens to be in summation form. So easily we can see that separability of the terms in that likelihood function, log likelihood function. Simply we can call that this one is log likelihood function. So here you can see that all those parameter are already there, unknown parameter, we have to estimate those things. Okay, further you simplify, it is taking like this one. So capital X, it is talking about this X is talking about random variable, and that random variable, it is first copy of the X. Okay, and if you try to put in the form of matrix, it is taking this is the matrix representation. Okay, so what we do, first we try to differentiate this like log likelihood function with respect to theta in order to estimate theta. So if you differentiate, differentiation is very simple. Theta involves in this term only, it is involved in this term only, or like in this term only. So simply differentiate with respect to theta and simplify, then you will see that maximum likelihood estimate of the parameter of mean parameter theta, it is actually what? It is coming like this way, sum of the random variable, that this random variable or these n copies, sum of these n copies divided by n. And what is this one? This one is what? Actually it is talking about sample mean. It is what? It is here xi's are coming from sample, so it is a sample, it is talking about sample mean. So maximum likelihood estimate of theta through this systematic process is what? It is coming sample mean. Now we will go to talk about maximum likelihood estimate of the variance. So if you are going to estimate this one, so you have to differentiate this log likelihood function with respect to s. Okay, or simply you can differentiate with respect to x square, because x square is coming everywhere, so you can do that. So after differentiation, you simplify it, and after that you are getting s square. That happens to be, what is this one? This one is the maximum likelihood estimate of for variance. This is the maximum likelihood estimate variance. But remember that many times we had already seen that this maximum likelihood of mean, it is actually sample mean, and sample mean is an unbiased estimator, and hence very fine. And this likelihood in the approach, it is very good for estimating mean. But if you talk about sample variance, if you try to see, then it is not unbiased estimator of sample, not unbiased, it is not an unbiased estimator for variance, it is a biased estimator for variance. There would be bias, bias term would be there, that would be sigma square by and something like that, it will come like that. So that would be bias for this sample variance. Okay, so we'll talk about efficiency and other kind of things in order to discuss further about this sample variance. I will go